Good day, learners. We are back again, focusing on differentiation using the power rule of differentiation. So today we have two questions, but each question contains of three or two sub questions. So in this case, we have if y is equal to 2x, open bracket 3 minus x, and z is equal to y over 2. Determine dy dx, which is the first question. Remember, when you have dy dx, I said what is in the numerator, your equation must be in that form. That means in this case, our equation must be in the form y is equal to. So what is in the denominator means you are differentiating in terms of that. So in this case, we are going to check. We have y is equal to 2x minus 3 minus x. So what is going to happen here? Is our equation in the form y is equal to? Yes, correct. We take. Is our equation in terms of x? Yes, we can see. So now we can simplify so that we can find dy dx. We are going to have y is equal to 2x multiplied by 3 is 6x. 2x multiplied by x is minus 2x squared. So that means our dy over dx. Remember, when finding dy dx in simplest form, you can use first principle, but then first principle is a long route. You can use power rule of differentiations. We can use this rule that says if you have f of x being kx n minus 1, then your f prime x will be what? K multiplied by n multiplied by x to the power n minus 1. That means you take the exponent, you multiply it by your constant, then you subtract 1 from that exponent. So even in this case, we are going to do it one by one. Let's start with by 6x. When we have6x, what is going to happen? That means we are going to say 6 multiplied by our n is 1. 6 multiplied by 1 is what? Is 6. Then x to the power what? 1 minus 1, which is 0. We can just write 0 to save space. 0. Then in this case, we have negative 2x squared. We say we also apply the same rule. So in this case, we are going to say negative 2 multiplied by our n, which is positive 2, is going to give us negative 4. X to the power from our n, which is 2, we subtract 1, which is 2 minus 1, which is 1. Therefore, we can see that our dy dx is 6. X to the power 0, any number to the power 0 or any variable is 1. That means it's 6 times 1, which is 6 minus 4x. This is your dy dx. Now we move on. The next question says find dz over dx. That means our equation must be in the form z is equal to something, and we differentiate in terms of x. So now let's check. Now you ask yourself, they said when we simplify our equation, we found out that our equation is y is equal to 6x minus 2x squared. So where does the z come from? We see that we have x and we have to differentiate in terms of x. Yeah, we understand that one. But then our equation is not in the form z is equal to. But then remember, you go back to your statement. They said and z is equal to 2y over 2. Then from z is equal to y over 2, you can see that you can cross multiply here and find that y is equal to 2z. Now you know y is equal to 2z. Do you need y? You don't need y. That means where you see y, you can just substitute by 2z. 2z will be what? Is equal to 6x minus 2x squared. Now we have, we divide by 2, we divide by 2. Then what is next? We have z is equal to 6 divided by 2 is 3x minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then you'll have something like this. Now we can see our equation is in the form z is equal to, and we're differentiating in terms of what? X, because x is in the denominator. Do we have x? Yes. Now let's go straight to the answer. The z over the x will be what? Same, we apply the same power rule. In this case, our k is 3 multiplied by our n is 1. That means it's 3 times 1, which is 3. X to the power, from our n, which is 1, we subtract 1. 1 minus 1 is what? Is 0. Then our k in this case here is negative 1. That means negative 1 multiplied by our n, which is 2, is what? Is negative 2. X to the power, from our n, which is 2, we subtract 1, which is what? 1. Then we can see that our dz over dx is what? X to the power 0 is 1. That means it's 3 times 1, which is 3. Minus 2x to the power 1, which is minus 2x, which is correct. Now let's do the last one. The last one, they are saying find dz over dy. So now you are asking yourself, how will I find dz over dy? You go back from your original equation. Then again, you go back to your first two equations. You have your equation in the form y is equal to, and it contains x. And then you have another equation which is in the form z is equal to 3x squared minus x squared. So now you check. Your equation must be in which form? Your equation must be in the form z is equal to, and you are differentiating in terms of what? Of y. So now you go back. You can see if our equation must be in the form z is equal to, our equation is z is equal to 3x minus x squared. This is our equation. But then we must differentiate in terms of what? Of y. That means we don't need x. We only need what? We only need y. So you go back. Where's the first equation? Your first equation says y is equal to and remember, we don't have only one equation that is in the form z is equal to. So you think you have z is equal to 3x minus x squared, and you also have another equation which is z is equal to y over 2, and they are saying find what? Find dz over dy. And you are getting confused. What is happening here? Because I can't solve this equation in such a way that I can substitute anything where I see x. But then this means that this is your equation. Since this equation is in the form z is equal to, which is required here, and you can differentiate in terms of what? Of y. So you can write that equation as z is equal to 1 over 2y. Then from there, what you can do is that you write dz over dy will be equal to what? Remember, your k is 1 over 2. 1 over 2 multiplied by your n, which is 1, which is 1 over 2. Then y to the power, your n is what? Is 1 minus 1, which is 0. Therefore, you have 1 over 2 multiplied by 1, which is 1 over 2. Then you are done with this equation. Then you go to the next question. B, you are given square root of x. Square root of x is equal to y. Y is equal to, square root of x is equal to y to the power 1 over 3. And z is equal to z. Y is equal to z to the power negative 3. Determine dy over dx. So you come here. You have square root of x is equal to y to the power 1 over 3. Is your equation in the form y is equal to? That is the first thing you must check. No. Then let's make it to be in the form y is equal to. You know x to the power, the square root of x is the same x to the power 1 over 2. Then y to the power 1 over 3. When we want to remove the 1 over 3 in the y, we multiply by what? By 3. Then what we do on the right, we must also do it on the left. That means we multiply by 3 even this side. Then you'll have x to the power 1 over 2 multiplied by 3 is what? Is 3 over 2. Is equals to, This 3 cancels this 3, you are left with y. That means your equation is y is equals to x to the power 3 over 2. Now you check. Is your equation in the form y is equal to? Yes. Can you differentiate in terms of x? Yes. That means you can write dy over dx will be what? Your k is 1, your n is 3 over 2. That means it's k times n, which is 1 times 3 over 2, which is 3 over 2. X to the power, you subtract 1 from 3 over 2. Then your dy dx will be what? 3 over 2. X to the power, 3 over 2 minus 1 is 1 over 2. Then you are done. Or you can simplify it further and say 3 over 2 square root of x is the same thing. Or 3 root x over 2 is the same thing. But then I prefer you to leave it here. You'll get full marks so that you don't make mistakes. Then let's go to the next one. The next one says dy, find dy over dz. Is your equation in the form y is equal to? Yes, we made our equation to be in the form y is equal to. Which is what? We made it to be y is equal to x to the power 3 over 2. This is our equation. But then we are given an additional information because remember we need z here. They say y is equal to z to the power negative 3. Then you say, wow. But then your equation is in the form y is equal to. And even here they said find dy dz, meaning your equation must be in the form y is equal to. So I can't change this equation. But what I must do is to, how will I remove this x in such a way that I replace it with z? But in your statement they said y is equal to z to the power negative 3. This is your additional information. Now you ask yourself, I don't have x here. How can I say x is something something z? But then you think, oh, my equation must be in the form y is equal to, and I must differentiate in terms of z. That means I can just leave this equation, which is rubbish, and deal with this equation. And I can say y is equal to z to the power negative 3 and check, is my equation in the form y is equal to? Yes. Can I differentiate in terms of z? Yes. Then now let's do it. Dy over dz will be what? Z, we have invisible 1 here, which is our k. Then our n is negative 3. Remember, from power rule of differentiation, we are going to say k multiplied by n, which is 1 multiplied by negative 3, which is negative 3. Z to the power, from n we subtract 1, which is from negative 3 we subtract 1. Then we have dy over dz being what? Negative 3 z to the power negative 4. You are done. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your question if you have a question in the